always something's going to be coming later on down.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened before, but he just repeats it over and over and over because he's a pattern. So that was one of the plagues. I think that was probably 7. And locust was probably 8, because he had the fire come down from heaven, or hail come down from heaven, and fire ran across the ground and burned up things. Then the locusts come and ate up every green thing after that.
Yeah, whatever was left.
Huh?
Whatever was left.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7's hail.
Well,
8's overkill.
yeah. Get 2 Kings 1 and 5. Well, get Joshua 10 and 11
Still want 2 Kings?
after that.
All right. Joshua 10 and 11. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down of Beth Horon, Yahweh cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones than they when the children of Israel slew with the sword.
Yeah, Yahweh killed more people with the hailstones, or the stones that come down from Yahweh, than it was the people killing the people. Okay, get
2 Kings
1 and 5.
1 and 5.
This is when
And when the messengers turned back unto him,
this is when Elijah told the king that he wasn't coming off his deathbed. He's gonna die. And he didn't like it, so he sent messengers under Elijah. Read.
and when the messengers turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are you now turned back? And they said unto him, There came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, Go, turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus says Yahweh, It is not because there is not Elohim in Israel, that thou sendest to inquire of Baal of Bezalbub,
Yeah, he's over there inquiring of false gods.
the god of Ekron.
When there's a prophet of Yahweh there to inquire. And
Yeah.
so when Elijah met him, he said, send him back there and tell him, look, you ought to be
Therefore thou shalt not
instead
come
of
down.
them false gods.
Therefore thou shalt not come down from that mat on which thou art going up,
Yeah, you're going to die.
but shalt surely die.
Yeah. Read.
And he said unto them, What manner of man was he which came up to meet you and told you these words? And they answered him, He was a hairy man, and girt with girdle of leather about his loins. And he said it was Eliah the Tishbite.
Yeah.
Then the king sent unto him a captain of 50 with his 50. And he went up to him, and behold, he sat on the top of a hill, and spake unto him, Thou man of Elohim, the king hath said, Come down. Eli answered and said to the captain of 50, If I be a man of Elohim, then let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50.
That's right. So, then what the king did, he sent another.
Again also he sent unto him another captain of 50 with 50. And he answered and said unto him, O man of Elohim, thus hath the king said, Come down quickly. Eli answered and said unto him, If I be a man of Elohim, let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And the fire of Elohim came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And he sent again a captain of a third 50 with his 50. And the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Eli and besought him and said unto him, O man of Elohim, I pray thee, let my life and the life of these 50 thy servants be precious in thy sight.
That's right. He said, so he said, well, I'm still going to tell him the same thing. He's coming off his bed, he's going to still die. And so y'all, he did have mercy on him and didn't kill them, captain of the 50.
Behold it.
Now, go to Luke 9:54.
Oh, so you're saying that fire is like the hell? Is that the correlation you
Well, it
using?
said hell come down and fire went across the ground. So here he's calling fire down this time.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
just kind of putting them in parts and not exact.
Okay. Where we are? What's next?
Luke 9:54. Maybe 9:56. One of them.
Luke 9 and 54 or 56. And when his disciples, James and John, saw this, they said, Rabbi, wilt thou that we command fire to come down from heaven and consume them as Elijah did? But he turned and rebuked them and said, Ye not know what matter of spirit ye are of. For the Son of Man is not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them.
That's right. You don't even know what spirit you are. Say stuff like that. They wanted to act like they gonna do what Elijah done back there.
Oh, right.
You know, he said, you don't even know what spirit you are. God, the Son of Man didn't come to destroy man's life, but to save them. See, he's bringing salvation. Okay. Now, it did talk about, you might as well get this, because it did talk about the thunderings and lightnings. Read Exodus 19:16.
Yeah.
19. How would you teach this in class? How could you go through the book of Revelation in class? They would have to just.
You do have to do it as a workshop.
Yeah, side study.
All right, so you said 19 and 6, 19 and
16.
16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there was thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceedingly loud.
See, that's him speaking the law now. Read.
So that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses, okay, well, that's what you want, right? The thunder and the lightning.
Keep reading that.
All right. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended from the smoke as smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and Elohim answered him by voice.
Okay.
And I
think that's good.
Okay.
That's when he spoke down the law.
Yeah.
Thunders, lightnings, earthquake, and a fire and smoke coming up. And you just read all that in Revelation 8.
Oh, yeah.
Right before that first trumpet sounded.
Okay.
You read about the smoke of the incense ascending up. You read about that there was, did you read? You go back and read it.
All right. 8 and
Probably 3 or 2 or 4.
all right, it says in another okay, yeah, it talks about the 7 angels and the trumpets. Okay. It says, and this is 8 and 3. And another angel came down and stood at the altar having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it up with prayers of all the sons. Excuse me. Thank you, Asha. And he shall offer the prayer of all the sons upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of incense which came with the prayers of the sons ascended right before Elohim out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thundering and lightning and the earthquake.
So see, when he's speaking down the law, that's bringing that law down to mankind on the earth plane. And he said there's thunder and lightning and earthquake, and we read that in Exodus 19:16. Okay?
And when it says, the next verse 6 says, and the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared them to sound.
Yeah.
It's like, to preach the gospel, prepare to preach the gospel.
Or, he's sending his 7 angels
Yeah,
with the 7 trumpets.
yeah.
Okay.
And when it comes down to it, angels are ministering spirits,
Right,
and it's really the Holy Spirit giving them the message to sound.
yeah,
You understand?
Definitely.
And when they talk about Dr. Kennedy being the 7th angel, well, they don't realize, well, hey, Joshua was the 7th angel, the 6th, the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd, the 1st. You understand? It's not.
that's right.
But they're looking at, Dr. Gilly said he was, so Dr. Gilly's my father in heaven. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize, no, it was the Holy Spirit in him.
Right.
You don't look at the, you don't
Don't
look
look
at
at
the angel. You're not supposed to be worshiping angels.
Yeah. You'll be in
Or a
darkness.
man.
You only see stars at night in the darkness.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
you worshiping angels.
Yeah,
Okay, get First Kings 19 and maybe 10.
You working with kings today, aren't you?
Read 7.
19 and 7. And the angel of Yahweh came again the second time and touched him and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. And he arose and did eat and drink and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of Elohim. And it came.
So he's going to the Mount of Elohim. Same as back there with Moses then. Read.
where's the reading?
1 Kings 19:7.
Okay.
All right, now I'm on verse 9. And he came thither unto a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of Yahweh came to him. And he said unto him, what doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahweh, Elohim of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thy altars, and slain thy prophets with sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And he said, go forth and stand upon the mountain before Yahweh. And behold, Yahweh passed by. A great strong wind rent the mountains and break into pieces the rocks before Yahweh. But Yahweh was not in the wind, and after the wind, an earthquake. But Yahweh was not in the earthquake.
Right.
And after the earthquake, a fire. But Yahweh was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entering in of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him and said, what doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahweh, Elohim of hosts, because the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenants, thrown down thy altars, and slain thy prophet with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And Yahweh said unto him, go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. And still okay. And Jehu, the son of Nimshi.
Well, where's the place where he
18, come
read it?
Okay. Just go down to 18 and keep reading.
Go to 18.
All right. Yet I have left 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which have not kissed him. What kind of kiss is that? That's not. What do you mean kiss him?
People kiss idols, they do all kind of stupid stuff. Roman Catholic Church, they didn't kiss the toes off of Peter.
But Judas kissed Joshua, right?
Yeah. That was an ark. He touched the ark and he died. He died instantaneously, but he died short after.
Mm-hmm. And then it says, greet your brethren with a holy kiss. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Keep it simple, students.
Oh, in class they said stupid. Okay. All right, so it says, so he departed thence and found Elisha, the son of...
That's cool.
Okay.
So, you can see he wasn't in the earthquake, he wasn't in the wind, he wasn't in the fire. He's in a small, still voice. It's him. You can look at the manifestations, but it's him speaking to you. That's what matters. You understand? It's the communication that it comes in. And it's a small, still voice. Whereas you got a lot of other stuff could be heavy on your mind, but is it the Holy Spirit speaking to you, which is a small, still voice.
All right.
Okay, so let's go back to 8 there.
All right. Revelation. 8 and 6. No. We have already done the hell. All right. And the first angel. Okay. And the seventh angel. This is 8 and 6. Revelation. And the seven angels which had 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sound, and there followed hell, and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth.
So that fire mingled with blood. Well, you know, it did happen with Moses and them, because when the fire come down, any beast that was in the field, everything died that was outside there when the hell come down, and fire come around, and that's fire mingled with blood.
Oh, I get it.
And when Elijah had that fire come down from heaven, they consumed him 50. That was fire mingled with blood. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And a third part of the trees were burnt up, and all of the green grass was burnt up.
And you read that when you read that seventh aim with, the seventh plague down in Egypt. Almost those same words was done there.
So let me ask you this right here. You know, a third of the angelic host was cast out.
That's right.
And they represent trees.
That's right.
So is that, okay.
Yes, when it says the third, it's talking about, it's representing those, the demons.
Right, okay.
Yeah. That's what the third represents.
And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood.
Okay, Pharaoh, see, as you said earlier, Satan and his host is cast down onto the earth plane, 1/3 of the angelic host. So for the great mountain, Pharaoh was an exalted man with the mark of the beast on him. And he's cast in the Red Sea with his host. And he had 600 chariots, 600 horses, and 600 captains. That's 666 being cast into the Red Sea. So what did it say?
It says, there was a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Yeah,
it became blood. It drowned all those men. That made it a Red Sea. And even with the laver, when those sacrifices went in that water, they became bloody water. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Is it true that laver had upper water and lower water? Is that true?
Because, it had waters above, waters beneath, because that's the second vessel in the pattern. Second day of creation has waters above, waters beneath. And the second day, the second dispensation, Yahweh destroyed the world with waters above, waters beneath.
Okay.
Then in 2 Chronicles 4, and let's read it. 2 Chronicles 4, maybe 2.
All right. 2 Chronicles 4 and
Just read 4 and come down.
oh yeah, it says 10 labors right here. Put 5-1. All right. It says moreover, he made an altar of brass, 20 cubits the length thereof, and the 20 cubits the breadth thereof, and the 10 cubits the height thereof. Also he made molten sea of 10.
You see how big that altar was? How big was it?
It says 20 cubits of length,
That's 30 feet long,
20 cubits of breadth,
30 feet wide. It's
10.
900 square feet,
10 cubits high.
15 feet tall.
We have rooms in our houses that big.
Right.
Wait, that was how big? Say it again in feet.
30 feet square.
30 feet square, 900 square feet.
15 feet.
This is a big room, but I don't think it's not 30 by 30.
So it was bigger than this room and definitely and taller.
Oh, yeah.
15 feet,
high.
this ain't 15.
How many feet are you?
Well,
You 6 feet.
this might be 10.
10.
Yeah.
You got 5 more feet to go.
And this is what? What am I reading about? The labor? Man.
No, that's the altar. That's to burn the offerings with.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Altar of brass, okay. It says, also he made molten sea. Is this a labor right here? Also he made molten sea of 10
Yeah.
cubits from brim to brim, round in compass, and 5 cubits height thereof. And a line of 30 cubits did compass it round about. And under it was a similitude of an ox.
Okay. What you read there, the molten sea, it'll tell you, is where the high priest washed.
Okay.
But the lavers were buried the sacrifice.
Okay.
Now why does he have a separation with that in the temple? Because there was waters above, waters beneath. That's how you prove it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. All right.
And he said the waters are people.
And then,
Children of Israel were like waters above. They were in the light.
Mm-hmm.
They resurrect. And Pharaoh's host was like the waters beneath. They
Then
were
you
in
had
darkness and they were cast.
Then you had the Jordan River and then the Red Sea. Again, 2
That's
bodies
right.
of water, one.
Then you have here you got the people that were dead and buried, like the sacrifices. Then you have Joshua, who's a living.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it
priest.
buried the sacrifice and the labor, but the high priest washed. So you have a washing and regeneration and a burial. The regeneration is washing with life, regenerated, and burial is dead and buried. They were confessing their sins, dead and buried, but in Joshua was life. So you have that principle in the labor.
All right,
It's a
real
twofold
quick.
purpose.
I need to ask you this. Joshua was a Nazarite, or did he took the Nazareth vow? Is that true?
Yeah, he's from Nazareth, and he did do the Nazarite vow.
So he had a bald head?
Yeah, he had to shave his head. He ended the vow before he went his ministry because you couldn't deal with dead bodies, and he's going to deal with dead people spiritually.
Okay, so he did shave it. Is that what they were talking about
Yes.
with Elisha? That his head was bald?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, but what is that Nazarite vow? What is that about?
Well, you have to go to Numbers, the 6th chapter.
Okay, and that's when it deals with oh yeah, and then in Judges it deals with Samson,
Right.
right? Okay. I just always want to know about that. All right.
Yeah.
You're lying.
And it's just separation unto Yahweh, because when Hannah was barren,
Samuel, right?
yeah, and then he said, well, I'm going to give him unto Yahweh.
Right.
You understand?
Okay.
So it's
If Yahweh answered the prayer.
yeah.
Mm.
And a Nazarite vow, he is vowing to serve Yahweh in a strict sense.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. I think I remember Paul shaved his head too.
He did. He had to shave his head to go into the. It's the same thing. Matter of fact, you got the 15th chapter. They're talking about circumcision, and unless you be circumcised, keep the law of Moses, you can't be saved. And he said, no, we ain't doing. That's not right.
Right.
And then the 16th chapter, he circumcises Timothy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he did it so he could go into.
Yeah, you got to
but
suffer the ignorance of the people.
Yeah. So the Israelites he'd have some,
Yeah.
He said, well, you ain't even circumcised, we ain't listening to you.
Right.
You know? And then if he didn't shave his head, they wouldn't let him go in there and preach. So hey, I'm gonna go in there and preach Yahshua Messiah, so I'll shave my head so I can go preach to you. I'll meet you where you are. He said all things are lawful, they're not expedient. He just did all kind of things. He even baptized people so they listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just like sometimes when we use Lord God Jesus before we're able to get to Yahweh and Yahshua. We're just suffering your ignorance to try to bring you in.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Cool. All right, so and the second angel sounded it. Okay, as Moses. Okay. So and the third part, okay. This is 8 and 9 Revelation. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed.
Yeah, everything, when it says the third, you can see it's all satanic. It's also fleshly. Because if you look at the tabernacle, you had a most holy place, which represents your spirit. The holy place represents your soul. But the flesh goes around. Well, that's the 1/3 that's got to be cast off later on. You ain't gonna flesh and blood gonna inherit the kingdom. You have to be clothed upon with a new body.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So, just as the satanic spirit was cast down to the earth, 1/3 the angelic host, the 1/3 is also representing fleshly things.
Nice.
And that's what he's 1/3 of the ships. Well, it doesn't matter. It's satanic or it's fleshly. You understand?
Right.
Carnal minded way.
Nice work. Okay. So the ships and nothing specific about ships. Just
Well,
Sure.
read James 3 and 5.
all right, James 3 and 5. Oh yeah. Even so the tongue is a little member and boasteth great things. Behold, how great is the matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue amongst many members, that it defiles the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed, and has been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison.
And you see that, I mean, people run their mouths, say all kind of things. You know, you got a perfect example with, Trump. He just runs his mouth about everything. He's a fool. You understand? But people But look at the ministers. They're lying to people. They think they're sin of Jesus. They're taking people's money. The Pope, they're pedophile priests. You know, I mean, there's all kind of people running their mouth. You know, hey, we were in a school yesterday, and all those guys just got there and just, there wasn't no edification. There wasn't somebody trying to let somebody understand. They just up there running their mouth.
I think you want 4.
Yeah, I should have gotten 4.
I mean, 2, 3, 4.
But the whole point is that tongue is a little member,
Right.
and it does a lot of damage.
But it does have something to do with the ship about the.
Yeah, but that's what she was talking about with the 4th verse.
Yeah, it's like with horses, you put a bit in them.
Yeah, read 4.
The tongue.
It says, "Behold also the ships, which though they be so great, and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small hem, whichsoever the governor listeth." Even so the tongue. Right, okay.
Yeah,
ships.
so they're correlating that the ship is a big thing, but the little steering wheel ain't nothing compared to what the
But the
the
steering
ship
wheel
is.
controls.
yeah.
And the horse, you put a bit in their mouth, and that's what steers the horse.
Yeah, and the bit is small compared to the horse.
Yeah.
Horse is a big animal. Some of them can be.
And then you got man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
all
It's
tongue.
about
tongue.
Out of control, right?
Yeah, it's out of
And then you
control.
got Yahweh with the small, quiet voice. He control you even with the small.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so the ships are big vessels
Yeah.
on the water. Well, the waters in Revelation 17:15 are people. So those ships that are on top of the waters, carrying a lot of goods, they're likened unto satanic spirits and bodies causing people to go after with all their merchandise. And Brother Kinley used that merchandise being carnal ordinances. That, like it's in Ezekiel, matter of fact. Ezekiel 28 and 16. It's also in Revelation in the 18 or 9th, 17th chapter. But anyway, we can go there.
All right. So it says, of the ships and were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell the great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
Wormwood's actually poisonous.
Yeah.
Amen.
So all those thirds, as you see, the river, it's the well, get Ezekiel 29 and I think it's 28 too. Read 28 and 3 and then 29 and 3.
You said 28 and 3?
Yeah, I think.
Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret.
Start 28 and 1.
Okay. And the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I am an Elohim.
Yeah, he's gonna say he's Yahweh. You understand? I'm Elohim. Read.
Yeah.
I sit in the seat of Elohim, in the midst of the seas.
In the midst of the seas. See, he's a big ship. You understand? Read.
The people. Yet thou art a man,
You
and
are a
not
man.
Elohim.
You're not the creator.
And thou shalt set thine heart as the heart of Elohim. And that kind of remind me of Dr. Kinley too. He said, you know, in the panoramic vision, he said, after all, we are not Yahweh Elohim.
That's right.
People always trying to.
Our minds were not spiritual, but they were
for a temporary time.
Yeah,
Released
they
from
were functionating on a spiritual plane or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he talks about how much more superior the Creator is.
Mm-hmm. To us.
Yeah, that's why the way they've got it, people don't do their research and they get tripped up by people lying to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same, anyway, go ahead.
All right, it says, yeah, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. And this is the Daniel that we know, right? The
Yeah.
book of Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay. It says, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. But it says, by the great wisdom and by the traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. And you know that's a big thing right now too, trafficking, like the kids and the human beings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what it's talking about. I'm just saying I'm just saying.
Go to,
Trafficking men's souls.
go to 12.
Okay, 12, it says, Son of man, take up lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom, perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in the garden of, has been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone is thy covering.
Yeah, and what's going on here, he is talking to the king, but it's showing the satanic spirit in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
King of Tyre wasn't over there in Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
You understand? He ain't that old.
Right. It says, every precious stone is thy covering, sardis, topaz, the diamond, beryl, onycha, jasper, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle.
And you've seen those lined up with the high priest stones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh?
You've seen those lined up with the high priest stone?
Yeah, and you said it, but he lists 9 here, right? Not 12.
And the third row,
Yeah, he's missing the third in gold.
he's missing the third row.
Mm-hmm.
And the third row is representing the Holy Spirit, showing he ain't got no Holy Spirit. He ain't Joshua.
The workmanship of thy tamarins and thy pipes were prepared in thee the day that thou was created. Does that mean he's a good speaker, or that he?
Yeah.
And,
What he hears and what he says, it was prepared for him to be a liar.
does that also mean he's good with music? Because people always say that he was.
Well, I mean,
Christians say
gifts,
that.
and musicians do use their gifts for people to look up to them.
This is what the Christians say, that he was over the music ministry in heaven.
Well, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure there's Gibson guitars up there and pearl drums. You understand? Stupid stuff. It's Stradivarius violin.
Thou art the anointed cherubim that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou was upon the holy mountain of Elohim, and thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stone fires. What does that mean? He walked
Those
up
are
and
the
down.
angels.
Oh, in the midst of the angels.